So you're probably wondering, why have we not fallen into a recession yet? And the answer is because it is complicated. So there is always a long and variable lag when you raise interest rate. It takes time for things to kick in. But we're also at a really weird time in history where so many things are different, where we had a supply chain problem, where we had a pandemic, where there was a ton of fiscal stimulus given out. So all of these things are renormalizing, and that accounts for the variability. So let's get into it. So let's start with the banking system. So we've had interest rates going up, we've had quantitative tightening, which means the Fed is just selling off the mortgage-backed securities and bonds that it bought when it was doing quantitative easing. So that's quantitative tightening. And so that is restrictive. At the same time, they're propping up the banks by allowing for reverse repo. And as you heard from Powell, he said he would, he's encouraging banks to use their discount window, which is where they will give out loans. So they're propping up the banks at the same time. So that's a cross current. So when we come to the economy, people have spent all their fiscal stimulus that they got during COVID, all the COVID checks, stimmy checks, and they've maxed out their credit cards, but at the same time have the government spending through the Inflation Reduction Act as well as the infrastructure bill. So that's putting money back into the economy. Let's not forget that inflation is actually coming down, so that's easing a little bit all that pressure that people are feeling. Companies also took out a lot of loans when it was really cheap to borrow money, and so they're kind of hoarding that, and they don't necessarily have to refinance right away. It could take years for them to refinance. There's a lot of tax credits also that were given to companies to keep labor. And then, of course, there's the yield curve control manipulation that's happening right now by the Treasury issuing more short-term paper, but eventually apparently they're going to have to issue the long-term paper. But U.S. companies are actually buying that paper, so paper meaning bonds and T-bills and notes. So it's very complicated. There's a lot going on, a lot of cross currents. Okay, to the next dose.